What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. I appreciate you guys for tuning in with us today. We're going to be going through the championship weekend. We got the Eagles, Commanders. Who would have thought the Commanders would have been here? And then you got the Bills and the Chiefs on the other side. Four just juggernaut teams. One team that we didn't really expect to be here this part of the season, but they're here. They're here. So welcome, Shooter McHenry. Thank you for coming on once again. He's going to be, your stats guru. He'll give you all the good numbers, his own numbers, no one else's numbers. This is the only place you could find these numbers, these stats right here. So, Shooter McHenry, really quick, introduce yourself. Let them know, a little bit about you, and we'll get into it.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I'm always honored to be here, and uh, always like going over some stats and spitting some numbers out. So, I did some calculations for these games and got some interesting stuff here. Um, yeah, unexpectedly, the Commanders made it. I think in our last episode we talked about the Commanders having a shot because they had a really good pass defense, and we knew that the Lions going in had a pretty weak pass defense, and the Commanders took full advantage of that. Terry McLaurin got loose on them, and yeah, the Commanders were really tough to stop. And we also, I think, we talked about the Commanders if they got off to a good start and out to a big lead, that they'd be able to put some pressure on the Lions, and that's what happened. Um, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer game than it was. I was surprised to see the Commanders win by so many points, but yeah, I mean, yeah, they're surprisingly good. And Jaden Daniels, man, what can you say about him? He's clutch and looks like one of the best young players in the league. But yeah, we'll get started off with some stats here. Like he said, I do my own calculations on how I get my stats for offense and defense. I take a little more into consideration than just yards or points. I combine some different stats on that to get my numbers. But yeah, I did some calculations for spread, and they're all spread for this game as a 3.8. When you adjust that and you give the Eagles a couple points for home field advantage and a little half a point for an injury advantage, that goes up to 6.3. So Vegas has the number at -6 for the Eagles, and on my calculation, it was at 6.3. So I have the Eagles with a slight advantage more than Vegas, but Vegas is probably rounding that number down from 6.3 themselves. So I basically have the same number they have. When you get down to like combined offense, combined defense, it's really close on offense. The Commanders are ranked number 4. The Eagles are ranked number 6. Combined defense is where the separation is on these two teams. The Commanders have the 13th ranked defense, and the Eagles have the number 1 ranked defense. So overall, the Eagles have a slight advantage, especially on the defensive side. You can break that down a little bit more. You can go in and look at passing offense and passing defense. So on passing offense, the Commanders are ranked 13th and the Eagles are ranked 31st. So that's an advantage for the Commanders. Commanders have a good advantage in the passing offense game. And then you look at the defense, you got the Commanders at 5 and the Eagles at 2. So the Eagles have a slight advantage there on the passing defense, but they're both very good. They're both elite. So it's kind of strength on strength there. But there again, the passing offense for the Eagles may not be the best in the league, but you also have to consider the fact that they run the ball a lot and have the number 1 ranked rushing offense. So that's also going to take away from your passing game. So being at 31, that's not really representative of the quality of their passing offense. There again, they have one of the best wide receivers in the league, and they can burn you at any time. You go down to rushing offense, rushing defense. Again, on rushing offense, very close. Commanders at 3, Eagles at 2. But then you look at the rushing defense. That's where there's a big difference in this game. Again, the Commanders are 30th in rushing defense, and the Eagles are number 9. So the Eagles have a big advantage in rushing defense, and the Commanders have an advantage in their passing offense. So those are the two big differences I see in this game. Really, it's that Eagles defense is a little bit better, maybe overall. Um, And really the Commanders, their strength of their defense is the passing D, but the Eagles' passing D is just as good. So that may not necessarily be an advantage for them. I'm really seeing, especially since this game is in Philadelphia, I'm probably going to go with the Eagles here, but boy, there again, I'm not sure if I'm going to put money on this or not yet. So I went back and forth with this one a couple times. Do you have any angles on this one I'm not seeing?
So I'm just looking at this game and saying it's, for the Commanders, it's got to be a similar strategy to what it was versus the Lions. I mean, they have to come out firing. There is no room for error. I mean, and Jaden Daniels hasn't turned the ball over. I mean, it feels like since the Commanders have gotten to the playoffs, they've been a whole nother different team in terms of turning the ball over. I think they barely turned the ball over. Jaden Daniels has played incredible football. I mean, I just look at this game and I see an incredible, division rivalry matchup. Commanders being here, being surprised, surprising that they're here. But I think I agree with you. The Eagles are they're just a better football team. And, I want to pick the Commanders. I want to pick Jaden Daniels. I want to see them go to the
Yeah,
Super Bowl. That would be incredible. But at the end of the day, the Commanders got a little fortunate versus the Lions. I mean, the Lions still ran for almost or over 200 yards, I'm pretty sure. It was just that they just had to stop running the football because they were behind so much. And, you know, that Eagles passing defense is much better.
yeah,
So, the Commanders coming out, if they're not going to be able to come out firing like they did versus Detroit, I mean, let's not forget they did, put up a lot of points versus the Eagles the first time around. Or no, the second time around they played the Eagles. But I did hear that the Eagles were pretty banged up the second time they played. But regardless, the Commanders and Daniel still put up a lot of points on them. But like you said, it's in Philadelphia too. I think Philadelphia has to be one of the most difficult places to play in the cold. This this time of year in that cold. Sometimes you get flurries. It's outside, and those fans, man, they are rough. They are loud, and it's not like the Commanders can't deal with that. Heck, they just went to Detroit. Tell me those fans weren't riled up. From what they've seen this season. But
yeah, and
I
it's
just think
loud.
that yeah, the Eagles are just they're going to run the football so well, so good. I mean, I don't know if the Commanders could get out to that commanding lead early on to force the Eagles to stop running the football, and the Eagles won't stop running the football that early either. I mean, if they're only down 14, they're not going to stop running the football. But now, if the Eagles have to get in a shootout, I'm not too sure if the Eagles, passing wise, say they have to get back in the game passing wise. I'm not too sure if they could do that because they've struggled, to push the ball down the field. They've struggled to generate some passing offense this year. So, I mean, this game could really go either way. It's a really difficult game to predict, but I guess I know, we kind of said the same thing about the Commanders the last two games. When they played the Buccaneers, we said, the Buccaneers are more battle hardened. They've been there. We thought that the Commanders were going to be one and done. And then you go to Detroit. We're thinking, okay, the Lions or that running game is too good. But like you kind of said before the show started, I mean, when you have a quarterback of Jaden Daniels' caliber, that's where the numbers can fall through. When you have a quarterback of that caliber, and the way he looks, I mean, he just looks incredible. I mean, I got nothing else to say. It's so rare for a rookie to come into the playoffs and play the way he has.
Yeah, he's
But
absolutely clutch.
and he sure is. He sure is. So, it's just like, oh, I don't like my heart is saying the Commanders, but my brain is saying the Eagles, and I'm gonna go with the Eagles in this game.
Yeah, yeah. Your heart is with the Commanders, but your money's on the Eagles.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I think that's probably. I mean, that's the call here. If I was going to put money on this game, it had to be on the Eagles to win or cover the spread. I mean, you could see possibly this game being an under because of all the running. You could have a lot of running with uh, Jaden Daniels scrambling and the Eagles obviously running the ball, controlling the clock a lot. I mean, the Commanders seem to control the clock when they want to as well. Now they didn't as much against the Lions. So against it seemed like against the Buccaneers, the Commanders controlled the clock a lot, and then when they played the Lions, it was just a all out shootout. So they can play either way, which is good for them. I mean, they can win more than one way, and that's dangerous because I think Philly, they kind of have one recipe for success. They need to run the ball, and
Right.
they can't do that successfully, and not just successfully. Like if they just have a turnover or two, I mean, for a running team, that just puts you so far behind the sticks, especially if you do it early in the game. Um, you let that young team that's gaining confidence get out to an early lead, and that's going to spell some big trouble. Like you said, if it puts pressure on Philly to have to sit back there and toss the rock more than they want to, then that's it's going to put you in danger of getting an interception, and compounding the mistakes because that pass defense for the Commanders is so good. If they're going to force you into throwing more than you want to or deeper than you want to, that's when they can lure you into some mistakes. And I could see it, happening a little bit like the Lions game, like you were saying. For the Commanders to win this game, it needs to go a little bit like the game did against the Lions. They need to come out, score early, have the Lions maybe turn the ball over, or have the Eagles turn the ball over early, and then you can jump out, and then you've got them. Because with your pass defense being so good for the Commanders, if you get out to that early lead, it's not going to be easy to pass on them. And then, like I said, if they turn the ball over, now you've got them right where you want them. On the flip side, if the Eagles can run the ball a whole bunch and they run right up and down the field and the Commanders can't stop them, they can control the clock, they can pass whenever they want to when they're comfortable. You're not going to beat the Eagles that day if you're going to let them run up and down the field, and if they're not going to turn the ball over. There again, I mean, these teams are so close. I mean, and both the teams can score points. So if I'm looking at the little bit of difference between the two teams is that the Eagles might just have an extra player or two on defense. So yeah, I mean, if I'm going to go with the money, it's going to be on the Eagles. Not disrespecting the Commanders. I think they can win the game. Now, just looking at quarterback wise, I think what happens is people with Jalen Hurts, they don't respect his passing ability as much, and I understand why. I think it's because he's a true 50-50 quarterback. I think he can run as well as he can pass. Is what I'm basically saying there. And he doesn't have to pass all the time to be successful. He doesn't have to run all the time to be successful. I just think that he's one of those rare talents where he's actually a 50-50 quarterback where he runs and passes both like equally well. He's just not dominant on either side. Like he's just not a dominant passer. He's not a dominant runner. But the fact that he can do both very well makes that offense go. And if he's able to move around, if Saquon Barkley is going to run for over 100 yards, and all Jalen Hurts has to do is complete 15 passes on the day, and the Eagles are going to win. But yeah, beyond that, the weather is going to be 28 degrees and sunny, so no snow or anything like that. I wonder how the cold's going to affect the Commanders. They're not playing indoors this next week, and they're not going to be down south in Tampa Bay either. So they will have a little bit of challenge facing the cold and playing in that for the first time in a while. So that usually does affect the offense. That usually slows down the offense when it's real cold. But yeah, I'm excited to see this game, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do money wise. I'm still trying to figure out whether I want to put money on the Eagles or not. But
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
tough one. It's a tough one. It can go either way. You could tell me however, like after this game ends, you could tell me, hey, this happened, and be like, yeah, it sounds kind of right. But one thing I do want to bring up really fast before we move on to the next game is Typically when you have a 2,000-yard rusher or a running back that, has such an incredible season, that's a great thing and all, right? But sometimes it feels like that's hiding a deficiency somewhere else. And like you said, maybe I don't give Jalen Hurts enough credit for, how well he passes the football. He's just not dominant, and I'm expecting dominant out of him. So I think you brought a new viewpoint to me, which I think is very important. But back to the part when running the football is typically when a team runs the football so much, it does, kind of mean that it could mean that there's a deficiency hiding somewhere. And Eagles passing game has struggled. It hasn't been great. But at the same time, it feels like, the Eagles are just leaning towards a strength, but they could still pass the football.
Yeah, like they have to pass the ball or they have to run the ball to be successful.
Right. Right. So sometimes I think like, if you run the ball so well, that's a great thing and all. But when it comes to 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and a big down and big game, you could run the football, but you're gonna pass it, and in those bigger moments when you have to pass it, the other team is expecting to pass as well. I mean, I feel like that's when that running game, when that it. I know it sounds so weird, but when a team runs the football so well, it's a great thing, yeah, but it's just hiding another deficiency somewhere, I think. But the Eagles, I mean, they just do a lot of things really so well. So I mean, I can't really say they have a deficiency. The run game is just that damn good.
Yeah,
You
they
know?
do not have to pass the ball a whole lot to be successful. That's for sure.
No, no,
Your
and maybe
quarterback can
I'm
run. Your running back is one of the best in the league.
yeah. All right then. Is that's all we got for that game then, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking value wise. I mean, if you can get 6.5 points on the Commanders, that's probably not a bad value bet with these teams being so close. Because if you think you say it's a 50-50 matchup, well, if they're going to give you 2 field goals, that probably isn't a bad bet. Like if you want to do something risky on this one, heck, I'd say take the Commanders because your value on taking the Eagles as the favorites is not going to be great. I mean, and you'd have to have the Eagles win by 6 or more points, and this is a playoff game. This is an upset alert game. That's why I'm not real big on putting my money on it because the Commanders can definitely beat the Eagles. So giving the Eagles taking the Eagles at -6 is a tough one because Commanders can beat them or they could get within a field goal and very easily. So maybe the value here I'm thinking is in the Commanders on the spread, and that would probably be the only place I would think about putting my money on this game. To be honest, go with that young rookie quarterback. You don't know what's going to happen. Heck, they could mess around and win that game.
Sure can. I mean, they proved me wrong. They proved us wrong the first 2 times around. So I mean, why can't they do it again? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
At this point, they're in the conference championship. They could do anything. Um, so real quick before we do move on to the next game, the game that everyone's talking about. I'm not here to try and overshadow this game, but um, say let let's just say whoever wins this game, or no, who has a better chance to win the Super Bowl? The Commanders or the Eagles? Like if they play the Chiefs, let's say they play the Chiefs. Who do you think has a better chance to deny the Chiefs the three-peat?
Mm. Game's going to be indoors. I think. Is it? Where's the game at?
Uh,
I thought it was going to be. Is it Vegas?
is it Vegas? I think it's Vegas. No, I think it's New Orleans. Wait, is it in New Orleans? Where is Super Bowl? Let's see. Let's check real fast. Um, where is it? Yeah, it's at the Caesar Dome.
So that would be Vegas.
Uh, let's see. I think that's New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans. Okay,
Yeah,
they renamed it. Okay,
yeah.
so that will be indoors. Mm, Boy, none of these teams play indoors at their home field. The Bills play on turf. So I would think that if the Bills got to the Super Bowl, that would favor them. I almost feel like the Super Bowl was between the Chiefs and the Bills, to be honest. Um,
I agree with you there.
I think the Eagles statistically are good enough to beat uh, the Bills or the Chiefs. But will they do it in the Super Bowl under all the pressure? You know, the Chiefs have already beat the Eagles before as well, and the Commanders to me seem like they're a little bit away. Like it's a little bit early for them to go all the way. I think they're like one of those problem teams, you know, like that team you don't want to face in the playoffs. They're hot, they're young, they're full of confidence, but as far as winning the whole thing, I don't give the Commanders much of a chance to win the whole thing. So yeah, I think the Eagles would stand the best chance, but I'm looking basically at the Chiefs Bills as the Super Bowl. You got the Bills
I
offensive
guess it's a
line
good transition, yeah.
is just dominant. Their offensive line is great. Um, and obviously the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and the whole crew there. So what and they've been the best ranked teams all season. Like the Bills and the Chiefs, you know, obviously the Eagles, the Ravens, a few
Right.
of those teams, the Lions, like those have been your top five ranked teams the whole season. So yeah, the Commanders have come on late and have worked their way into the picture. And I think they're even going to be more of a problem as time goes on. They're showing that this year. But I think this is probably the year of either Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, and we'll see who wins that.
I agree. I agree. All right, so then that'll just transition us right into that game. Then I don't know. That's just a question I thought of. Maybe we could talk about quick.
Yeah, I
Uh,
actually have a bet. I put a bet on before the playoffs started. I have the Chiefs beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl was one of my picks.
okay. Well, that's looking possible. Very
Yeah.
possible. It's getting closer. So hey, we'll see. But all right, we'll transition into the Bills and the Chiefs game fully now. Bills Chiefs. Give us the numbers, General.
All right. Well, you got your number three Bills versus your number two Chiefs, and the variance raw score on this is 1 point. So super close game. When you give the Chiefs a couple points for having home field, that gets it up to three. Vegas has it at two. So I got the Chiefs at -3. Vegas has them at -2. A little bit more of a difference on that one than the other game. Um, your combined offense, Chiefs are 11, Bills are 5. So Bills have a little bit of advantage on offense. On defense, Chiefs have the advantage at 2, and the Bills are at 15. You add all that together to get a total. You got Chiefs at the lower total, which is better at 13, and Bills at 20. So Chiefs are a little bit higher rated team here, and they're also at home, which is going to be a good advantage. It's real loud there, Arrowhead Stadium. And we can go down and look at some uh, passing offense and passing defense. Chiefs are 15 on passing offense, Bills at 11, pretty close. And passing defense, the Chiefs are 19, the Bills are 20. They're again very close. One of the big differences in this game would be your rushing offense, and the Chiefs are 24, the Bills are 9. So Bills are a better rushing team. But then you flip that over, and the Chiefs have the better rushing defense. So they're at 8, but the Bills are very respectable at 12. So if I look at all these stats, the one difference I'm seeing here is the rushing offense of the Bills is 9. The Chiefs are at 24. So that's a little advantage for the Bills. And on combined defense, the Chiefs are at 2 and the Bills are at 15. So it looks like it's really strength on strength here. Like the Chiefs have a little bit better defense, and the Bills overall probably had a little bit better offense, man. When that raw score is 1.0 after the whole season, I mean this is a stat that I calculated from 17 games. So you have 17 different data points, and this comes down to 1 point. So this is a close game. Who knows who's going to win? Um, but what I'm going to point out is that you know the Bills beat the Chiefs last game, but that game was in Buffalo, and now this game's going to be in Kansas City, and the Chiefs aren't going to be happy that they lost that last game. And if you listen to sound bites from the last game, Patrick Mahomes went up to Josh Allen. He said, "We'll see you in the playoffs." And it happened. That guy is something else, and my money's going to be on the Chiefs here. Definitely give the Bills a chance to win. This might be Josh Allen's year. Needs to be his year, to be honest. This is one of the best teams he's ever had. That offensive line they got is impressive, and I just think it's really close. It's probably going to come down to a turnover. It might come down to a last drive of the game. Whoever has the ball last. Very easily see that happening. Yeah, but if you're talking money wise, okay, money wise, my money is going to be on the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has done it before. He's proven that he's clutch, that he can deal with the pressure, and he's got that mental edge on Josh Allen right now. So until the Bills prove that they can break that, I'm going to put my money on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They've won me money in the past, and that's where I'm going to be at. What's your angles on this, JDW?
Yeah, I think most of everything you said I can agree with as well. A couple things that I do want to point out in this game, though. I mean, first things first, I just want to say, the Chiefs have been here, like you kind of said. The Chiefs has been here. The Chiefs have been the one to do it. And for the Bills to beat the Chiefs 2 times in one season, yeah, that's pretty tough. Even though it's the playoffs now, regular season then, still, it's very difficult to beat any team twice in one season. The Chiefs, yeah, that's a whole nother ballpark, man. I mean, my thing is with Josh Allen. Okay, Josh Allen has been incredible. He's been awesome. Nothing short of great. Like I feel like he's in the point of his career where he has mastered the game, where he knows exactly what he's looking at, pre-snap, post-snap. You can't fool him, and he's learning how to control his arm a little bit, better every single year. My thing is, last game we saw versus the Ravens, Allen almost pitched it back to one of his guys. Is he going to, is old Allen going to come out where he's trying to be Superman? He's trying to do everything himself. If that Allen comes out, the way this Chiefs defense plays, it could be a long day. We need to see the Josh Allen that spreads the ball around. We need to see the Josh Allen that, don't get me wrong, he's great. He can run the ball really well. He can run people over, juke people out of their shoes. I mean, and then bomb it 90 yards downfield. But I feel like sometimes Josh Allen gets into his head a little bit, gets into his own head himself, and I'm a little worried that the emotions, man, the emotions in this game they're going to be riding as high as ever for the Bills, back to the conference championship, back for the rematch, and do the Bills do it? I don't think so. I can't say they will until they prove me otherwise. Such a good football team. That offense line is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they have so many weapons that Josh Allen has to choose from, but the emotions are so high. You know what I mean? I don't know how the Bills are going to handle this coming into this game, but the Chiefs have been there. They've done that, and then them having to beat Patrick Mahomes twice in one season. And if it comes down to the last drive or two, I mean, as every playoff game has between these two, I'm taking Mahomes. Because you give Mahomes 4 downs. I mean, you give either of these quarterbacks an extra down because it's that late in the game. They have to score, no other choice. Very difficult to stop. But you give Mahomes 4 downs, man. I mean, it's tough. I just think that the Chiefs, they've been here. They've done it. And until the Bills can prove to me that they can do it, no matter how good they are, the Bills, I would say they're better than the Chiefs, man.
Yep.
But could they keep their emotions tame? Could they keep their emotions from going all over the place and that kind of affecting how they're playing the game? Because Josh Allen, you can see, both quarterbacks allow their emotions to get into it, but I feel like Josh Allen allows it to affect his game more than Mahomes, if that makes sense. So I just don't want to see Allen trying to be superhero if he doesn't have to. I want to see Allen spreading that ball around. I don't want to see him doing any wild pitchbacks, and I don't want to see him doing anything crazy. I just want to see him drop back, do what he's been doing all season long, spreading the ball around. That's the Josh Allen that's going to win you the games.
Yeah, and Patrick Mahomes is an absolute maniac, right? He feeds off the pressure. He
Yep.
likes that stuff. He can you can see it. It's plain as day. And I wonder about Josh Allen. If I don't think he's like bad under pressure or anything. He's better than most. It's just the Patrick Mahomes effect is going to put a lot of pressure on Josh Allen to do exactly what you said that he doesn't need to do. And he's going to feel like he has to be Superman to beat Patrick Mahomes, and that might just force him into some turnovers or one or two bad decisions, and that's all it's going to take.
Yep.
Especially being on the road, being loud. Um, the differences between these two teams is minimal. There's not a lot of difference. There's not a lot of room. It should be within a field goal. And what is going to be the big difference? It's going to be a turnover, or it's going to be the last drive if it's that close in the end. And yeah, I mean, we're just kind of banking on what we've seen in the past, and we know that the past doesn't always predict the future, right? But in sports, that when somebody's battle tested and when they've proven they can deal with the pressure, when they have a mental advantage over somebody, that's just something that's really hard to overcome. I mean, just look at Michael Jordan, man. That's that guy. Like everybody in the league feared him. It was like Mike Tyson walking into the ring. Like there's very few people that give you that feeling like a Mike Tyson, like a Michael Jordan, and Patrick Mahomes gives you that same feeling when he walks on that field. It's like, boy, what's going to happen next? This guy is he's a maniac, and we all love it. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Can Josh Allen conquer the beast?
We'll see, man. It's going to be a game. Like you said, this is kind of like the Super Bowl right here.
I think it is, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, not to overshadow the Eagles and the Commanders of the NFC, but I mean, this is the game that everyone's been waiting for all year long. Unless you're an Eagles or Commanders fan, everyone else has their eyes set on this game.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. These two put on classics after classics, and it's kind of like a Peyton Manning and Tom Brady situation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady standing in the way of Peyton Manning every year, and now you got Patrick Mahomes standing in the way of Josh Allen every year. I mean, two incredibly talented athletes, two incredibly talented quarterbacks. It's just one just finds a way to take it home every time. And I guess that, do you have anything else from this game until we transition into our last part of the
reminds me of the old Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady days, kind of, just the two best teams in the AFC going at it, two best quarterbacks in the AFC going at it. Just excited to see the game, and hopefully we can win some money.
For sure. And with you around, hey, our chances are much better than if you weren't here.
Well, we didn't do as great last weekend, but can't win them all every weekend.
No, but you make an educated guess, and you're giving yourself the best shot.
Yeah.
But
over time, if you bet with good stats and good statistics and all that good stuff, then over time you normally win more than you lose. And you go through ups and downs. You'll have long losing streaks at times, but then again, you'll turn around and have long winning streaks as well. So it's got to hang in there and have the faith and believe in the numbers and have a system and stick to it. Like discipline and patience are probably the two biggest things in gambling. You want to choose the battlefield and make them come to you. And the more you bet, sometimes it does not mean the better you're betting. So having good quality bets is a very good strategy as well. Now, some people do they'll bet large numbers of bets and be successful doing it that way. But I do more quality bets. I don't have an army of people working to get my statistics and things. Just me. And so I try to do small quality bets. I like to find between 1 and 5 quality bets, and on a weekend or a given day, and have my money on that. And a lot of times it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. But you don't invest too much. That way you don't feel too bad when you lose. So.
For sure. All right, man. So that's officially it for championship weekend predictions.
I think.